Hello, everyone. Good morning. My name is Sylvia Perez. I'm the Family Engagement Liaison from Alexander, Hastings, and Bilhartz. We're going to start our workshop called Math Problem Solving and Resolving Conflict.
Hola, bienvenidos a todos. Muy buenos días. Su nombre es la señora Silvia Pérez. Es su enlace de compromiso familiar y sirve a las escuelas de Bilhartz, Alexander y Hastings. En este momento vamos a proceder a comenzar con nuestro taller para padres de resolución de problemas matemáticos y resolviendo conflictos.
Thank you, Ms. Serrano. And I also want to introduce Ms. Serrano. She's going to be helping me translating in Spanish. It's required by law that we have to translate English and Spanish.
Y también quisiera introducirle a la persona que va a estar encargada en el día de hoy. Mi nombre es Lonca Serrano. Voy a estar traduciendo esta parte de español, ya que por ley nosotros tenemos la responsabilidad de que nuestros talleres sean traducidos en español.
So during this workshop, we'll learn how to connect to similar ideas for academics and for social emotional learning.
Durante este taller, los participantes aprenderán cómo conectar dos ideas similares para académicos y para el aprendizaje socioemocional.
We also will be learning how to connect the math problem solving skills and the personal conflict by using similar process for thinking and making decisions.
También aprenderemos cómo conectar las habilidades de resolución de problemas matemáticos y los conflictos personales mediante el uso de procesos similares para pensar y tomar decisiones.
So this is some of the reminders that we have when we use Zoom. Find a quiet place, mute your mic if you're not speaking, use the chat to share ideas, be positive and respectful to communicate.
Y aquí hay varios de los recordatorios de aprendizaje en línea y nos gustaría compartir con ustedes varios de ellos. Es muy importante que encuentre un lugar tranquilo, limite el ruido de fondo, sea positivo y respetuoso al comunicarse y silencie el micrófono cuando no hable.
So we're going to do a little icebreaker. I love this icebreaker called Make Your Own Hashtag. So I want to invite y'all to, create your hashtag for the day, and we can share it in the chat. Ms. Serrano.
En este momento vamos a compartir con ustedes un pequeño rompehielo y es crear tu propio hashtag. En este momento, en la parte del chat, usted cree su propio hashtag del día. Es uno de los míos más favoritos. En este momento vamos a proceder a cumplir con esta actividad.
I want to share my hashtag. It's hashtag love my job. Ms. Serrano, hashtag today fill your cup with life, with sunshine and laughter. Yay, happy day. Okay, let's continue with this workshop. So this is the learning outcomes. We're going to identify problems, analyze situations, solving problems, evaluating responsibility.
Y los resultados de aprendizaje son los siguientes. Identificando el problema, vamos a estar identificando el problema, analizando la situación, resolviendo los problemas y evaluando la responsabilidad.
So we're going to learn more about the ability to make constructive choices about personal behavior and social interactions based on ethical standards, safety concerns, and social norms.
Es muy importante destacar que vamos a aprender más sobre la capacidad de tomar decisiones constructivas sobre el comportamiento personal y las interacciones sociales basadas en estándares éticos, preocupaciones de seguridad y normas sociales.
We will help our children to understand how to think possible consequences of various actions in consideration of well-being of oneself and others before taking actions.
De igual manera, ayudaremos a nuestros hijos a comprender cómo pensar en las posibles consecuencias de diversas acciones y a considerar el bienestar de uno mismo y de los demás antes de emprender acciones.
Thank you, Ms. Serrano. So the goal for this section is to think about how math problem solving is similar to solving problems or resolving conflict relationships.
El objetivo de esta sesión es pensar en cómo la resolución de problemas matemáticos es similar a la resolución de problemas o a la resolución de conflictos en las relaciones.
So now let's go through a few samples of a problem solving mathematics where we use a pencil and a paper to resolve this problem.
En este proceso vamos a guiarlos a través de dos diferentes problemas matemáticos. En este momento le invitamos que usted vaya por un lápiz y papel para que entonces pueda resolver estos problemas con nosotros.
Okay, the first problem, well, it's the same problem, but it's in English and Spanish. Felix Juan broke his bike and ran in a race. He spent 19 minutes swimming. He spent 21 minutes riding his bike, and he spent 30 minutes running. What was the total amount of time Felix spent swimming, riding his bike, and running in his race? So we're gonna have like a few minutes just to resolve this problem. What will you do? How you will think?
Y aquí tenemos este problema que vamos a estar, está en inglés, está en español, y dice, durante una competencia, Félix nadó, anduvo en su bicicleta y corrió. Tenemos tres diferentes puntos y dice, pasó 19 minutos nadando, pasó 21 minutos andando en bicicleta y pasó 30 minutos corriendo. La pregunta al final dice, ¿cuál fue la cantidad total de tiempo que Félix pasó nadando, andando en bicicleta y corriendo en esta competencia? Vamos a permitir 2 minutitos para que nosotros podamos resolver este problema juntos.
Okay, I will share what I did. I just got a sticky note and I put 4 quadrants. First of all, I want to know what he was doing. So he was doing 3 activities.
En este momento yo resolví el problema con una nota plegadiza y lo dividí en 4 cuadros. Y ahora voy a primero preguntarme qué es lo que estaba haciendo para poder resolver el problema.
So he was doing 3 activities: swimming, riding his bike, and running.
Él estaba haciendo 3 diferentes actividades. Estaba nadando, estaba corriendo y estaba corriendo en bicicleta y estaba corriendo en una competencia.
So I see the numbers 19, 21, and 30.
Yo veo los números me indican, dice que tenemos 3 diferentes números que son el 19, el 21 y el 30.
So that's the minutes that he spent doing his activities.
Esas son las diferentes cantidades de tiempo que él pasó haciendo sus actividades.
So it's asking me how many time Felix spent swimming, riding his bike, and running the race. So for me, that means that we need to do addition, because we need to find how total amount of time Felix spent in riding his bike, swimming, and running this race.
Y para hacer esto, yo tengo que mirar ¿Qué fue lo que hizo Félix en los diferentes tiempos? En los diferentes tiempos él nadó, hizo diferentes actividades y nadó, corrió y tiene diferentes cantidades de actividades que hizo y para eso me está preguntando qué Félix hizo en total. Me está dando una idea a mí de lo que él hizo. O sea, lo que quiere decir es que a mí me está dejando saber que lo que voy a hacer en esta actividad es que voy a sumar.
So my total for all those minutes, what time he took, it's 70 minutes, which it's equal at one hour and 10 minutes.
Cuando yo sumo, todo esto me da 1 hora y 10 minutos.
I hope this is correct. Anyways, okay, so now we're going to see this chart we call APS, which is the mathematic problem solving from Duncanville. That's what teachers use to teach kids math, how they can think. So the first one is analyze and give it information. So analyze the given information, understand the problem. So that's when you're reading the problem. What it's about, what quantities are you know and know of the problem. They have labels. Sometimes problems has numbers written in letters. So that's kind of tricky sometimes because we look in the numbers, but they're actually written in letters. If we see pictures too, and what question will answer in the problem.
Y aquí tenemos un plan de estrategia que nuestros maestros utilizan en el salón de clases. Vamos a comenzar por la letra A. La letra A nos indica que vamos a analizar. Vamos a analizar la información que hemos recibido para poder entender y comprender el problema. Para nosotros poder saber qué es lo que vamos a hacer en el problema, debemos saber que buscar las cantidades. Quizá muchas veces se nos va a dar la información a través de números, a través de letras, por eso debemos estar muy importantes, muy conscientes de la información que estamos leyendo y estamos comprendiendo para poder resolver el problema.
So letter P, it's formulated a plan of strategy. Map your path to a solution. How you can organize the information to help me find the solution. How can I visualize the problem? Which operation will I use, which is addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? How else can I represent the problem? Create a picture. What is the plan to get a solution? And how many steps do you need to resolve the problem?
Para la P sería formular un plan o estrategia. ¿De qué manera usted va a crear un plan, un camino para entonces poder llegar a una solución? ¿Cómo puedo organizar esa información para que me ayude a encontrar una solución? ¿Cómo puedo visualizar para visualizar el problema? ¿Qué operaciones debo yo usar para resolver el problema? ¿Cómo puedo representar el problema? De diferentes maneras, ya sea con una tabla, con una gráfica, etcétera, de diferentes maneras. ¿Cómo también puedo crear también imágenes para poder resolver el problema? ¿Y cuál va a ser el plan que yo voy a utilizar para entonces resolver este problema?
So our next one is the S, is determine a solution. We follow the plan. I show my work and my thinking and label my answers.
Y la S sería para determinar la solución. Sigo mi plan, sigo mi estrategia, sigo mi solución. Evalúo mi plan, demuestro mi trabajo y mi pensamiento. Luego, etiqueto mi respuesta.
And the check mark is just to verify and justify and verify your solution. Reread the question. Did I answer the original question? Check my work. Is my solution? Is my answer correct? Justify my solution. Justify the solution and evaluate the problem-solving process and results of the solution.
Y la marca de cotejo sería el último paso, que es para justificar y verificar la solución. Voy a leer nuevamente la pregunta. Voy entonces a buscar la respuesta para ver si puedo entonces que sea equivalente a la pregunta original. Verifico mi trabajo, también observo mi solución para poder verificar si mi respuesta es correcta de acuerdo al problema. Y también evalúo si mi respuesta es correcta. Y de esta manera justifico mi solución.
So we went through the APS check, which this is how we resolve a math problem. 4 steps. Analyze given information, formulate a plan strategy, and determine a solution, and justify and verify a solution.
Le acabamos de compartir el plan estratégico que se utiliza para que entonces los estudiantes puedan en el salón de clase poder resolver un problema matemático. Y ya como les repasamos, vamos a repasar brevemente cuáles son estos 4 pasos nuevamente, que la A es para analizar la información recibida, la P para el plan que se va a formular o la estrategia, y la S la solución para determinar la solución hacia el problema, y el último es la marca de cotejo para justificar y verificar que mi respuesta sea correcta con el problema que estoy resolviendo.
Thank you, Ms. Serrano. So let's go to our next slide. So we're gonna watch a quick video. It's solving problems word.
En este momento vamos a escuchar un pequeño video de cómo nosotros en estrategia podemos resolver un problema matemático.
Word problems. We're solving math word problems. We're going to look at things that are all written out and we're going to use some math to solve them. We're going to see how knowing math can actually help us in life if we ever, I don't know, eat a bunch of hamburgers. So, first off, what to expect today. We are going to identify what the question is asking, strategize how we're going to solve it, and then set it up with math terms, solve the question, and check our work. Those are the basic steps that we are going to follow, those 5 steps. Most problem-solving strategies are based around these same basic principles, although they may call them different things for the different steps. But this is the basic 5-step process for solving word problems. Let's take a look at a word problem. If I have 24 hamburgers, I eat half of them in 1 hour, then my dog eats half of what was left in 1 hour. How many hamburgers do I have left? So first off, ew, that is a ridiculous amount of food to eat. All right, now moving on. Let's look at our 5-step process. 1, what are we looking for? What is the question actually asking? I like to underline this and make sure that it's really obvious. This is what I'm looking for. Sometimes it'll be just knowing what you're looking for will actually make the whole process easier. And it also makes it possible at the end for you to check whether you have a reasonable answer. So you need to know what you're looking for. Part of this step, sometimes people like to identify what is not important. So you can cross that off. So I'll go ahead and do some of that. If I have, not important. Hamburgers, doesn't matter what he has. In 1 hour, doesn't matter. Then my dog eats in 1 hour. That's pretty much all unimportant information. So the information we have left is there's 24. I eat half of them. My dog eats half of them. Someone else eats half of them. How many do I have left? So 24, half of them, and half of them. That's really what is super important in this. So we can definitely identify that as well. So that's my identify step. What are we looking for? What's not important? Step number 2, strategize. How am I going to solve this? This is a strategy, it's not math. So what I say is something like this. Half means dividing. Specifically, half means dividing by 2. So I'm going to solve this using division. I'm going to solve it by dividing something in half. Perfect. Then I'm going to set it up. That's the step where I actually write down the math. I had 24, I'm dividing it by 2, and then I'm taking what's left and dividing it by 2 again. That's how I would write it down in math terms. Step number 4 says I solve it. And for that step, I'm going to actually do the math. 24 divided by 2 is 12. 12 divided by 2 is 6. So my answer is 6. And my final step is to check my work. When I'm doing the check your work step, there's a couple of different things you can do. One, you definitely have to ask yourself, does this make sense? Look at the question, how many hamburgers do I have left? I started with 24. I ate half of them. My dog ate half of that. Does having 6 left make sense? Yeah, if it was an answer like 600 at the end, it wouldn't make sense. It wouldn't make sense that you have more at the end than when you started. So this step helps us to think about what we're doing. Also, you could actually work the question backwards. This is a step called using inverse operations. So if you start with 6 and then you double it and double it, would you end back with your 24? Let's see, 6 times 2 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. It works. So we can actually use that. That's called inverse operations to work our question backwards as well. All right, those are just a couple of ways. But those are the 5 steps that I use and how I use them to solve this question. Let's do another question. I spend 5 hours in class each day. Boring! How much time do I spend in class each week? First off, ew! Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go through our steps. First, I identify what is it that we are looking for. The question's asking, how much time do I spend in class each week? What is not important? I spend and boring maybe. It might be funny, but it's not that important for actually having us answer the question. All right, so we can cross off the things that are not important. Now let's strategize. How will I actually solve this? I go to school 5 days a week. I'm going to multiply times 5. That's my strategy. Setting it up is actually writing down the math, 5 hours per day times 5 days. My solving is actually doing the math. 5 times 5 is 25. Now I'm going to check my work. I can check my work the same way I did before. First off, does it make sense? Does 25 hours sound like a reasonable answer to this? Is how much time I'm spending in class per week. I could actually work the question backwards. 25 hours divided by 5 days would give me 5. So the question would work backwards as well. All right, so here are just 2 sample questions showing us how we can use these 5 steps for solving word problems. Let's do a quick step reminder. 1, we identify what we're looking for. 2, strategize. How are we going to solve it? 3, write it down. 4, do the math. And 5, check your work. So those are the 5 steps. I hope that lesson was helpful for you. Have a wonderful day.
Okay, well, that was our video solving word problems, so you can just have an idea more clear, step by step, how you can resolve a math problem. ¿Y Serrano?
Este video fue un video muy bueno de otras maneras de cómo resolver los problemas matemáticos para que sus estudiantes tengan una idea de diferentes maneras que ellos pueden resolver los problemas matemáticos.
Hello, this is Mr. Buffington, and today we are solving...
Okay, like we said, this goal for this section is to think about how math problem solving is similar to solving problems or resolving conflict in relationships.
Como habíamos compartido con ustedes de antemano, que el objetivo de esta sesión es pensar en cómo la resolución de problemas matemáticos es similar a la resolución de problemas personales o resolución de conflictos en las relaciones.
So now we'll solve another problem, except this time will be a social emotional problem.
En este momento vamos a resolver otro conflicto. La diferencia en este momento es que este conflicto se trata de un conflicto socioemocional. Vamos a discutir un poquito más a ver cómo podemos resolver este conflicto.
So it's time for your child to go to bed, but instead they want to play video games longer. What will you do?
Es hora de que su hijo se vaya a la cama, pero en lugar se quiere quedar a jugar videojuegos por más tiempo. ¿Qué usted haría?
So how will resolve this problem? Let's think about a little bit.
Vamos a pensar un poco en cómo nosotros como padres resolveríamos este problema o este conflicto en la casa.
Okay, for me, which is my case with my son, he plays a lot of video games and we have issues sometimes for that. So what I do as a parent, I just go and talk to him and I said, okay, you're playing too much. I established like the rules at my house, like in the weeks you're not able to play, you can only play on the weekends. Not longer than 10 o'clock at night p.m. We talk about it. We agree. I mean, of course, sometimes they get mad, but I mean, I just explained why he can't play longer time.
En este momento me gustaría compartirles con usted por lo menos una situación que sí en la casa de mis padres surge con su niño, porque su niño pues le gusta jugar videojuegos y a veces tiene el conflicto de que quiere jugar por más tiempo. Ella lo que hace es que se le acerca a su niño y le habla con él y dialoga con él y conversa y le hace ver que en la casa hay reglas. Ella le establece reglas que en la semana no debe jugar videojuegos, que solamente los fines de semana y hasta las 10 de la noche. Y por supuesto se irrita, se molesta porque quisiera jugar más tiempo y quizás dentro de la semana o algo, pero trata de que siempre sea dentro de las reglas que entonces ella la ha establecido.
Because playing longer, it's our consequences. He will not be ready for school, will be late. He will not be able to do his homework because he's busy playing games.
Porque de ser así, permitirle que juegue por más tiempo sería lidiar con otras consecuencias, que quizás se levante tarde al otro día en la escuela, que quizás entonces vaya a llegar tarde, y entonces para evitar este tipo de situaciones, pues entonces se mantienen estas normas para que entonces pueda jugar dentro del tiempo que que yo le establezco en la casa.
So this is a chart that has conflict resolution steps, like stop the conflict, say something to stop the conflict, like, wait, let's talk about this, name the problem, what is the issue, what's going on, with a team message, say how you feel, think of solutions, what you can do, and make a choice.
En este momento vamos a discutir con ustedes, compartirles una tabla y un método de cómo solucionar estos pasos, de cómo solucionar y resolver conflictos. El primero, pues, es detener el conflicto. Vamos a hablar y a dialogar acerca del conflicto.
So we need to guide our children through this process as they are learning how to make wise choices.
So es muy importante que debemos guiar a los niños a través de este proceso a medida de que aprenden a tomar decisiones acertadas.
So we're gonna watch another video, strategies to resolve a conflict.
En este momento vamos a proceder a escuchar otro video acerca de cómo resolver los conflictos. Mis padres me disculpan porque no llegué a cubrir todos los pasos el paso de resolver los conflictos es que le busco un nombre al problema, pensar en soluciones y tomar una decisión para el conflicto. Ahora vamos a proceder a mirar, a observar el video y escuchar.
However, well-managed conflict can help to clarify issues. It can create new opportunities for discussion and strengthen relationships among members. Here is a helpful list. Number 1, acknowledge that there is a problem. Clarify and clearly state the concerns, needs, and interests of the people involved in the dispute. Emphasize the ground rules. Adopt a positive tone and a problem-solving attitude. Set ground rules that will help maintain a courteous, respectful environment for discussion. Some of these ground rules could be no interruptions, respect each person's opinion, address the issue and not the person, or each member is encouraged to contribute. Number 3, look for areas of agreement. Start by helping members find common ground. Identify areas of agreement before addressing the differences. Number 4, affirm the value of different opinions. Discuss the fact that different opinions are natural in a group. Help members separate the opinion from the person holding the opinion, and do not allow personal attacks. Focus on the problem, not the person. Number 5, listen to everyone's point of view. Let council members express their opinions and perspectives. People will be more willing to discuss alternatives if you acknowledge and legitimize their right to hold particular points of view, even if you don't agree with them. Number 6, define the conflict early. Make sure you understand the issue causing the conflict and that you are focusing on the right problem. Try to identify any assumptions, expectations, misinformation, or lack of information that may be influencing members' opinions. Many conflicts can be resolved by improving communication and explaining issues carefully. Number 7, create solutions. Identify a range of options for solving the problem. Invite others in the group to help resolve the conflict. List the advantages and disadvantages of each option. And finally, number 8, choose a solution. Choose the best solution and follow up to make sure that it is carried out. We hope that this list has been helpful in how to resolve conflict among council members. Thank you. Take care.
So this is another great video, but this time it's for social emotional strategies for resolving conflicts.
Este otro video grandioso, esta vez este video trata y cubre más acerca de la parte socioemocional de resolver conflictos.
Resolving conflict.
So, math problems versus conflict resolution.
Problemas matemáticos versus resolviendo conflictos.
What do you notice about solving a problem and resolving a conflict?
¿Qué notaste acerca de resolviendo un problema y resolviendo un conflicto?
What strategies will you use next time to face a conflict?
¿Qué estrategia usará la próxima vez que enfrentes un conflicto?
So, the first one, what do you notice about solving a problem and resolving a conflict? It's kind of like this. It's kind of like the same thing. Actually, we use the same steps to resolve a math problem and resolving a conflict problem.
Si observamos y analizamos qué notamos acerca de resolver un problema matemático, un conflicto, los pasos a seguir son básicamente muy similares para la hora de resolver un conflicto y que todo salga de manera saludable.
Thank you, Ms. Serrano. Ms. Serrano, what strategies you will use next time that you face a conflict?
I normally stop and think. Because if I just respond to the conflict, just because of the emotion that I'm feeling right at the moment, I'm going to mess up. So, and then I'm going to face the different problem, different consequences. So I normally stop and think. So to take a deep breath and yes, and analyze the whole situation.
Do you be using that chart, the APS and the conflict resolution solution?
Yes, I learned from that. I learned from that, especially the first one, to analyze the conflict, and in order to find a healthy solution to the conflict.
Thank you for sharing, Ms. Serrano.
Yes, you're welcome, Ms. Perez.
So this is some of the resources that we use to create this presentation. You can email me if you need these resources, so I can always place it in the chat for y'all. There are great resources, you know, how to manage conflicts and problem solving.
Aquí hay varios recursos. Siempre es bien importante que si usted quiere y necesita más información, que me envíe a través de correo electrónico para entonces yo enviarle más información.
And this is the two charts that we use. One, it was for the math solving problem, the APS check, and the other one, it was the conflict resolution steps. If you can see, they're kind of similar, or the kind of the same steps. What to use a math to resolve a math problem and a conflict resolution problem.
Y aquí les mostramos ambos estrategias, ambos planes de cómo solucionar. Tenemos el de matemáticas a la izquierda y el de resolviendo conflictos a la derecha. Cada uno muestra los pasos y si comparamos y analizamos ambos, ambos son muy similares a la hora de resolver un conflicto.
So if you need these charts, I can always email them or provide it to you, make copies. Just email me or you can just text me. I will give you my information at the end of this presentation.
Si usted está interesado en obtener una copia de estas dos tablas, de estas dos imágenes, yo se la puedo enviar a través de correo electrónico, se la puedo enviar por mensaje de texto. Al final de esta presentación, yo voy a compartir mi contacto de información para entonces yo poder proceder a compartir esta información con usted.
Thank you, Ms. Anna. So let's reflect about the learning. Go, and think about it now with the information that you receive. How will you resolve a problem with your children?
En este momento vamos a detenernos, vamos a reflexionar en el aprendizaje. Ya que has recibido toda esta información nueva, ¿cómo resolverías el problema con sus hijos en la casa y de diferentes maneras?
Let's just think about it, and every time that you had a problem, just remember about the ASP check and conflict resolution problem chart.
Es bien importante que estas preguntas solamente nos van a llevar a una reflexión. ¿De qué manera nosotros para un futuro vamos a resolver quizás estos problemas, estos conflictos cuando lleguen próximamente? Y tener presente esas dos estrategias y planes que les mostramos a ustedes, el de matemática y el también de resolviendo conflictos, que los tengan presentes.
Let's move on. Well, this is the end of the presentation. Thank you so much for your participation, and we want to hear your feedback.
Esto da culminación a nuestra presentación, nuestro taller en el día de hoy. Nos gustaría escuchar su opinión acerca de este taller. Gracias por participar. Por favor, muy importante que usted llene este código del QR para nosotros escuchar qué le pareció a usted este taller.
And we have the QR. You can just scan it, and we want to hear from you.
Usted nada más lo que tiene que escanear este código de QR y lo va a llevar directamente a una forma para que usted pueda entonces completar este cuestionario.
So I just want to let you know that our next workshop is going to be Skyward Family Access on April 9th at 9 a.m.
Y también quisiéramos compartir con usted que usted marque su calendario. Nuestro próximo evento va a ser el viernes 9 de abril de este año en curso a las 9 a.m.
Well, thank you for joining us.
Muchas gracias por habernos acompañado. Gracias por su participación.
And mark your calendar.
Y por favor, marque su calendario. Muy importante. Esperamos verle para nuestro próximo taller.
So this is my information. You can, we always put it at every presentation. This is my personal number and my email where you can email me or text me or call me anytime.
Y aquí está mi número de información, aquí está mi correo electrónico, como entonces usted se le haga más fácil. Pero aquí está toda la información de las escuelas que sirvo. Por favor, no duden en comunicarse conmigo si usted necesita cualquier tipo de recurso. Estamos para servirle.
Well, thank you so much and have a great weekend. Bye. See you soon.
Muchísimas gracias por habernos acompañado. Que tenga un grandioso fin de semana. Nos vemos pronto. Hasta luego.